Hello everyone. In this video, we will talk about the data models. So before we move ahead with a data model type, which will be a relational data model, we should understand what is data model is. So if we look at the definition of data models, you will find number of definitions first of all available online or on the books, which is written by a number of authors. So for me, I'm considering one of the definition by an author called as Date, and he published this specific definition in his book in 2000. So, as per him, it's an abstract, self contained, or logical definition of object and operators. So, what does it mean? So, when we say an abstract means it is conceptual, which means it's a concept, self contained, which means it will be self dependent, and then we have something called as an objects. So when we are saying an objects, so objects means that we have an entity. Entity means tables, and these entity consist of what? It consists of records and attributes, right? So we also have an operators. So when we are saying operators, operators will consist of something called as calculus or relational algebra, which means that we have certain computation in operators. We're using whether the calculus or relational algebra. But this in this course we will refer to a relational algebra only. Then we are saying that this is a machine. It constitutes it constitute the abstract machine which will interact with the user which interact with the users. Okay, what does it mean? It means whenever we are using these objects, operators, these all are used in order to help a user to interact with the machine you are using the specific database management system into. Okay, so now it consists of what? There are three things which it consists of. The first one is structure. Again, here we have mentioned about an object. So which means the structure will show a number of objects, and these objects how they are organized based on their primary keys or foreign keys, because we said that whenever we have foreign key, which means we have a relationship between two entities. We have two entities and we have a relationship between them. So in order to represent the relationship, we use a foreign key there. So structure, again, the structure consists of number of objects, and these objects consist of attributes and records. Now regarding operators, again it is a computation, so it will be a calculus and it will be a relational algebra, and we will focus on only relational algebra here. The constraints, whenever we talk about the constraints, in order to represent certain rules or concepts, we have to make sure that we are following certain constraints which is available. There are a number of them are here. We have something called as an entity constraints. We have something called as a domain constraint. We have something called as a referential constraint, and we have enterprise as well. So this is something we will discuss in our next video. Okay. So now the evolution of data models. So whenever we talk about the data models, we have to think about what are the oldest data models we have and what are the latest data models which are available in the market. So let's look at this diagram. So initially we used to have hierarchical and network diagram, but there were certain limitations of these hierarchical and network diagrams, which leads to having a new model. So, what was the limitation in hierarchical and network model? I will give you one example in my next video, but here in general, we say the hierarchical network follows a path. It has predefined paths. So, whenever we want to follow that path, as a database administrator, we need to know exactly those paths, which is its limitation. Okay, so if we do not know those predefined paths, predefined links between each of the entities, we will not be able to retrieve the information, or it will take a lot of time to retrieve the information as well. Okay, so in order to come up with to deal with that issues, we come up with something called as a relational data models, which consist of SQL queries. It is more simple. It is structurally independent. So if you remember, structurally independent, we said is deal with the file systems, which means if you're making any changes on the file system, it will not affect its access control. Okay, so this is developed in 1970. Then we come up with entity relationship, more semantics. It consists of number of semantics, such as we have two type of them. We will use Crowfoot ERD diagrams. We will discuss that further in our in upcoming weeks. Then we have semantic ones, which is mainly unstructured data. We already discussed what is unstructured data during our class as well. It has more objects, more complex object, and it also uses XML as well. It is categorized into two categories also. Then we have something called as big data, which is nowadays commonly or mostly used by the people, which is called as NoSQL. So why they come up with the NoSQL? Because as we know that the majority of the people, they are using more devices, which is generating more data. So they have to have some of the databases or data models which can expand to or become more scalable to that data. If you have more data, we have to have a databases which can deal with this big data. Thank you.